There's an old saying. It's a very old saying. It goes back to the early church, and it was no less true then. It's true now. It'll certainly be true in the fullness of the kingdom, when we'll probably get to fully experience and understand this saying for the first time. And it comes to mind as I think about what we did this past weekend, and that saying is simple. One Christian is no Christian. One Christian is no Christian. To be a Christian, in other words, is something that we do in community, surrounded by our fellow brothers and sisters, face to face, here at the feet of the Lord. And that's exactly what we experienced this past weekend as we did this hunger strike retreat. It's a beautiful thing. It's been happening for years. It was my first time to be blessed to be here. It's really a way for us to develop empathy and compassion and solidarity and connection with people in need, both halfway around the world and also people in need here in our own backyard. It was a joyful thing, and as Father was saying, we finished the retreat this morning with a Skype with our brothers and sisters in Tanzania, which is so beautiful because the retreat actually took place in two places. It took place here at St. Paul's, and it also took place at Holy Apostles in Tanzania. And we had some talks and events here, and they had some talks and events there. And then we got together this morning on Skype, and we played some games, and we sang some songs, and we came together face to face, and we looked into each other's eyes, and we shared our names, and we shared our hopes, and it was a really beautiful experience, and I wish you all could have been there. But I think that joy really came, that joy came out of the sort of lessons and experience that we were having that are leading up to this. And I can't share that joy because you weren't there with us, but I can hopefully share a couple of the words that came into our hearts as we went through this weekend, because a big word that was on our hearts was compassion. Compassion, right? Which means suffering together, bearing one another's burdens, opening up our hearts to each other. And we talked about judgment as being the opposite of compassion. And judgment can be a thing that separates us from people, especially those in need. We can think about those people out there who are hungry, who are struggling, who are homeless, and they're lazy, or it's their fault, or whatever it is. That's a separation. That's a judgment, as opposed to that moment of compassion when we come together, when we open up our hearts, when we bear each other's burdens, when we enter into each other's pain. We did a small thing yesterday here. We tried to eat as little as we could, to even experience a little bit of that hunger, to enter into some of the pain that our brothers and sisters, both here and around the world, experienced. So we talked about that compassion and how that compassion happens in almsgiving. Right? We talk about a lot about prayer and fasting as Orthodox Christians, but sometimes we forget that missing piece. That it's not about my private religiosity, because one Christian is no Christian. But when I open up my wallet to you, when I open up my home to you, when I open up my life to you, when we come together in love, beautiful things happen. Beautiful things happen. Right? Christ tells us, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am, and the Lord was certainly with us during the course of this weekend. As Father said, we went to the food bank. Our local director here of Focus, Southern California, Irene, she was able to organize a really beautiful thing. We packed 1,280 boxes for families in need across Orange County. Right? People who... And you think about that, we were debriefing a little bit about it, how much is the value of the oatmeal and the apple juice and the things like that we were putting in that box? $20, $25. Right? I go to the store, I go to plop a 20 down and it's no problem. But there's people out there, that $25 for those groceries, that's a really hard thing for them to swing. 1,280 boxes around Orange County and Riverside. Right? We were looking up some statistics actually to prepare for that. Times I've been to Orange County, I think of Orange County as this place that's really, really well off. There's a heck of a lot of poverty out there, right in our backyard. And sometimes because of that judgment, because of that separation, we have that distance. But yesterday, we tried to take a step into that compassionately, suffering with. We learned about the bread of the liturgy. We saw Father Steve do a little proscomidi for us, actually, preparing the liturgy as he prepares it every day, every Sunday before liturgy. And we saw there on this paten, the very paten that came around in the great entrance, and we saw Christ enthroned, surrounded by his saints, surrounded by the bodiless powers of heaven, surrounded by us, all of the living, all of the dead. That's compassion. Right? The thing that we did at the food bank is the thing that we see on the plate in liturgy. The thing that we do in small ways, right? We had a beautiful talk that talks about, sometimes we think about sanctity as this very high bar, but to be holy is a thing that we do in our own place, in our own context. The way that we open up our hearts to the kid who's sitting by himself in the cafeteria. The way we open up our hearts when somebody maybe struggles with their homework. The way we open up our hearts when mom or dad is too tired to do the dishes and we step in to help. Believe it or not, that's holiness. And that's all of us coming together at the feet of the Lord. That's what we experience in this liturgy. That's why the kingdom of heaven is manifest here. And so when we were there on Skype, face to face with our brothers and sisters halfway around the world, trying to experience a little bit of that hunger, that was a taste of the kingdom. Our bellies were empty, but our hearts were full. Our bellies were empty, but the Spirit was descending and in our midst, and that's just such a beautiful, joyous thing. And I wish I could share that joy with you, but hopefully some of these words give you a sense of the magnitude of the moment and the magnitude of the opportunity, because compassion isn't simply a thing that we do during a retreat. It's not simply a thing that we practice during a Lent. Compassion is what it is to live as a Christian, because one Christian is no Christian. And hopefully for those of us who were able to participate in Hunger Strike, this is the beginning of something new. For those of you who weren't able to participate in Hunger Strike, hearing some of these words, seeing the joy of those who participate, hopefully is the beginning of something new. A life more dedicated to compassion, life more dedicated to that union. A life more liturgical as we all gather together in the Lord's name to share the love and the joy and the life that he has for us. Not separated by judgment, but united by love and compassion. And maybe we can't share that joy, but we can share a little bit of a song that we were able to share with our brothers and sisters in Tanzania. So I'm going to invite my fellow hunger strikers up here, and we're going to share just a taste of what we shared with our brothers and sisters this morning.
This song that we've prepared, it's a bit of a gospel kind of tune, so we're going to be snapping along to it. If everyone wants to join in, that'd be awesome. It's not required, just highly recommended.
Helping those in need. Amen. Breaking bread. Amen. Growing closer to Christ. Amen. 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 Feeding the hungry. Amen. Caring for others. Amen. Showing compassion. Amen. 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 Do you love the Lord? Father and the Son. Amen. Does he love the Lord? Amen. Amen. Amen.
Filling up the bucket. Amen. Carrying the water.
Amen.
Feeding God's children.
Amen. 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 Amen.
Thank you to our choir master, Ben, for putting that all together. Round of applause for Ben. And now I'm going to turn it over to one of our hunger strikers, Dominic, to share a little bit about how you can support.
Hi everyone, my name's Dominic and this was my first year at Hunger Strike. This year we participated in a variety of activities including packing boxes at a food bank, playing different games, and learning about our faith. All of these activities connect to how we can have compassion toward other people. Compassion means to have empathy and to suffer with other people. Did you know that in Orange County, as many as a quarter of all people are in poverty? Working in the food bank allowed us to show these people God's love through our compassion. We also played games that helped us learn about the situation that people in Tanzania have. We had to fill up buckets of water with small plastic cups reflecting how in Tanzania they have to walk several miles just to reach a well with clean running water. It truly goes to show how privileged we are here in Orange County. And that actually leads me on to the point of this entire speech, which is the fact that many kids in Tanzania cannot afford to go to school past primary school. The truth is that their situation is much worse than any of ours, so if you can spare any money at all, please donate to the hunger strike. During the hunger strike, we are also able to join a Skype call with the kids in Tanzania, which also helps us to see them as who they are, just kids who have been placed into a situation that is more difficult than ours. That is why it is our responsibility to donate to help them out. The money that you donate to Hunger Strike will go directly to scholarships for Tanzanian kids who otherwise would not be able to attend school. Let's show our compassion for the Tanzanian children. Please donate to St. Paul's and write Hunger Strike on the memo line in the bulletin. Or scan the QR code in the bulletin and it will take you to where you can make an online donation. Also, please come to the pancake breakfast after the service. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Just take it out. Claire and I would like to just say a couple of words on behalf of all of us to Carolyn Caracas, aka Mama K, who's hiding over there in the corner. So, Hunger Strike has been going on for 17 years, led by Carolyn. 17 years. She has dedicated so much of her time and love to making this event happen. And what happens this weekend is that the students and all of us who participate grow in love for God and for each other. That's what happens here. And it's life-changing for so many of us. And it's because of Carolyn and Mama Kay. So we love you so much. And I think there's no one in this church that isn't touched by your compassion. That was our theme this weekend, and you emulate that, Carolyn. You are a shining example of God's love. And not just for us, but we had a chance, as mentioned, to Skype with the students in Tanzania this morning, and they all just love you so much too and are touched by your grace. So thank you for being a living example of God's love here on earth to all of us.
I won't say much. I just wanted to say I can't do it by myself. I can't do it without all of these people and without all of you. And there's so many people to thank because it takes a village to do a retreat. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And thank you for your donations, for your support, your prayers, because many of you were praying this weekend. The Women's Fellowship, the Anchorite Group, the Men's Fellowship, and all you parents. Thank you for your prayers because we truly felt them and they were felt around the world. God bless you all. God bless you all.
Okay. This is the final thing, I promise. I want to also give a huge shout out to all these kids because for those of you who might not be familiar with Hunger Strike or haven't seen it happen since the pandemic, these kids have been here since 8 a.m. yesterday morning. They have not left church. They slept here under the dome. They participated in all of these amazing activities over the last 48 hours. And to give up your weekend during Lent at that age, I think is huge, and the things that they've been doing for these children in Tanzania and for the parish. So I want to shout them out as well before we close out today. And thank you again, everyone.